Alright, time for another video. Let us discuss the curious case of Sergio Perez. Perez is an odd one to me. He's gotten the contract extension. His contract extension was announced in Montreal, just before Montreal. And I have been trying to wrap my head around some sort of surface level reason as to why they gave Perez the contract. And the only one I can really fathom is that Maximilian said he would prefer Perez be his teammate because it's not going to be a threat to him. That's the only reason I can fathom, where we don't have to take into account any occult details. That's the only one I could fathom, mate. He can't get the contract off his performances on circuit. It's been too bad. It's just been way too bad. Can't get the contract because he's friendly with the pit crew or something. That doesn't fly in F1. That doesn't fly. Any other driver who's faster would be just as friendly with the personnel in the garage, so that doesn't fly. Is it for vibes? Vibes Perez. I'm like, why has he gotten a new contract? Based off his performances out on circuit, he should not be getting a contract extension. There's no way. Whether you are a Red Bull fan, not a Red Bull fan, Red Bull anti-fan, Verstappen fan, Verstappen anti-fan, what have you. However you fall in this, the one thing people can agree on unilaterally across the whole F1 community is that Perez has not been good enough to get a new contract. So why has he gotten this contract? Well, the true reason I can surmise is that he's been instructed to drive slowly. He's either been instructed to drive slowly, or they've thrown the sandbags in his car and said, that's how you're going to have to drive. You know, that car's going to be slower than whatever the true spec of the car is, because, well, they have to hide the true spec of the car. It's very likely they're even doing it with Verstappen's car, quite frankly, because the optics were getting really difficult for F1, right? After the budget cap reach and all of that, at some point, you're going to have someone like a Zach Brown coming from the land of the free, where people will talk about anything and everything except their own personal politics, I suppose. But what, coming from the land of the free, where even Danica Patrick has a podcast where she's talking about the reptilians and all of that. At some point, Zach Brown would have done the whole thing of, well, Red Bull breached budget cap. He would have laid out all the things that I laid out, and that he would have been briefed by one of his chief engineers or whatever. He would have laid out that, well, he breached budget cap in primary design phase for a new formula. You're going to get to carry those gains through the whole formula, through the whole duration of that formula of F1, that era of F1. And that advantage is really only going to be nulled as soon as you change the formula. Zach Brown would be saying that if the Red Bulls were unsandbagged, if Perez was not being double sandbagged and making the optics of the car more palatable. And then you've got the Verstappen fans thinking it's real, it's really like this right now, or Maximilian is this good relative to Perez. It's not really, I I have a lot of strong opinions about Perez. All right, I have many strong opinions about Perez, that he's not good enough to be in the top team like this, that he's the weakest of. Now there's 4 teams involved, right? 4. It's always been 4 teams involved. But I suppose Aston Martin have fallen off. But of the 4 top teams, he is the weakest of the drivers among all of them. And I've said that for Youngs, but he's not this bad. He is not as bad as he has shown this season and previous season, even though he still got to finish second in the championship because the Red Bull car is just that overpowered. He's not that bad. Now, he should be able to overtake a Haas. Doesn't matter if it's Magnussen or Hulkenberg driving it. You should be able to get past that Haas. Should be able to get past both the Haas cars. It shouldn't be stuck behind any of them. That's just the last Grand Prix. I mean, his weekend in Monaco, jeepers. He lucky he crashed out, I tell you. He lucky he got crashed out at Monaco. Seriously? He hella lucky. Because that would have given me a shit ton of ammunition, let me tell you what. But there's the rest of the season to take into account. It's not been good. What, are Red Bull giving him the contract extension because they're banking on him winning a Grand Prix in Singapore or something? That's... like, seriously? Seriously? You see, it's at such a point with Perez and the optics of his drives that you might as well put Yuki Tsunoda in the car. You might as well put Liam Lawson in the car. You might as well put Danny Rick in that second Red Bull. Can't be worse than what Perez is doing. Surely. But now Perez got the new deal. Very curious case, that one. Very curious case. I'm sure the Fraudstappen fans will have some sort of explanation for it, or they just won't. Or more likely, they just won't have an explanation for it. Maybe they want some gone as well, because he looks that weak. Right? From what he's produced during the season, he looks that weak. So yeah, you might as well. But who knows? We'll see what they say, if they say anything. All I know is that on sporting terms, Perez is not supposed to have gotten a new contract. He's not performed well enough. At all, by any metric. But anyway. Yeah, that should be the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.